everybody. It's Donna Nauman, nurse practitioner, and I'm here to invite you to experience all the different ways of wellness and health. Today, I have Elana Morgulis with us, and she's going to be talking to us today about mindfulness and meditation, which I love. So tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and why are you here today? Yay.
Thanks, Donna. Thanks for having me. I love connecting with you and chatting. So I'm here today because I'm a psychotherapist, and I'm also a mindfulness meditation teacher, and also a healer in all kinds of woo and practical ways. And I just love blending like the Western science of psychotherapy with the Eastern science of mindfulness and meditation and holistic healing arts. And I just love talking about it. It's been so impactful on me and my life and my healing. And so I just love sharing about it and my work.
I would say ditto to that. This meditation mindfulness is really a direction. I feel like from that crazy sympathetic nervous system where we're and feeling stressed all the time into that path of, okay, I got this and I can see this another way and I can become calm because really things are not as bad as we seem to think they are. And so you're a therapist first, right? And so as a therapist, you began to study things about meditation.
Yeah, so I went to a grad program that I'm so grateful exists that unfortunately now is known as something else. But when I went to the school, it was called the Institute of Transpersonal Psychology. And transpersonal is just a fancy word for spiritual. So it was an entire program dedicated to the blend of, of Eastern and Western studies, psychotherapy and meditation and body mind integration and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think coming from as a nurse practitioner, sending people to see counselors and therapists and things, I think they just think that they're going there and talking. And I think like it's so much bigger than that. It's way bigger. And then you as a professional have integrated your own style, your own technique. And in that, like you're offering these to your clients. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and that is why a lot of people come to me, because they see that I also have a background in teaching yoga. And so they really love, like, oh, yeah, I don't want to just go to therapy to talk myself in circles all day.
Or have been doing that for years.
Right, exactly. Like, let's take another approach, a holistic approach where we're taking into account mind, body, and soul. And the way that looks, it looks different for different people. We do a lot of talking when we meet, as well as paying a lot of attention to the way the body is expressing itself, and what we're feeling in our body, as well as using these somatic or body-based techniques like yoga, meditation, breath work, to heal on another level, and learn other skills that sort of bypass the mind and work right on our nervous system.
Yeah, because I have such a strong science background, I really hooked onto the meditation because of some of the benefits of what it does for you. And coming from a very stressful job and stressful life, that I feel like that saved me. Can you just kind of talk a little bit about what meditation is doing in here and then dribbling down in here, right?
Yeah. So of course, I'm not a neuroscientist, so there's so much going on that I couldn't tell you, but I do know some stuff. And what I love about what I know is the impact of meditation and mindfulness on your nervous system. So as you Well, no, as well. We have our nervous system, we have the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. And the sympathetic nervous system gets activated when we're stressed, right? Stressful job, a traumatic event happening in our lives, major life stressors. Our systems go into the fight, flight, freeze, appease response in the body. And that's when oh my gosh, I'm blanking, of course. The amygdala in the brain gets activated and all the stress hormones get released, cortisol, adrenaline,
Mhm.
um, and our bodies get prepared to fight or flight, right? And digestion goes offline and our executive functioning gets turned off because we're just in our survival
We're
brain.
running for our life.
Exactly. And we're tense, right?
And that's a good word. Yeah, totally.
Exactly. Yeah. And so things like meditation and mindfulness actually shift us out of that survival brain into so I've heard it put or phrased in this way before, from the lizard brain to the wizard brain.
I
I
like
don't know who said
the
that, but I love it.
lizard to the wizard.
Yeah.
I like
Um,
that.
so we shift into the wizard part of our brain, or the prefrontal cortex, where we can access executive functioning, decision making, awareness, presence, and we start to feel calm. The parasympathetic nervous system gets activated, which is the rest and digest function in the body. So um, digestion comes online, relaxation hormones get released, we feel calm, and that's where when our body heals
Mhm.
is in that state, and we're present and better able to access taking care of ourselves and making the right decision in the moment. And I like to think of it as like a higher part of ourselves that gets
Yeah,
activated, right? And
yeah. Yeah, that's interesting because, like, when you think about the energy flows where your mind goes. And when you are energizing the worry, the stress, the list making, whatever that is, you're living way out there. And so you use a technique that really causes you to kind of come back and be like right in front of yourself. Can you just kind of talk a little bit to that technique?
yeah, so I think what you're referring to is mindfulness, right? And mindfulness is, people define it in different ways, but I define it as being fully aware of the present moment, of yourself in the present moment, without judgment and with self compassion.
Mm.
So I was just thinking about this today in my meditation class, like, what are we even doing here with this meditation practice? And I really was aware of how we were, and this is sort of getting into another facet of this work that I love, that is changing our relationship to ourselves. So when you say, sort of standing in front of ourselves in a different way, like I experience that we are so conditioned and trained and habituated to react to our lives and ourselves with criticism, judgment, resistance, some kind of fighting, right? Or some kind of something has to
I'm
change.
not enough. I'm not enough. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of that stuff, is embedded in us from our childhood. It's just the way we saw the world. And now we're trying to offer something for people to change the story, to change that story of what was really going on right here, right now. Like, what is the story that's happening right in front of us? Is it really everything we're making it out to be? And I kind of feel like mindfulness takes us back to that space where we're returning into our oneness.
Yeah, I like that. And we're returning into our oneness. Yeah. Yeah. And we get to practice experiencing ourselves and the moment from a place of oneness, presence, compassion, hopefully. But even just neutrality, right? That I feel like that's the first step. For some people, it's hard to access, the oneness or the compassion. And even just stepping from criticism or some kind of argument with yourself or judgment to just neutrality, just open awareness. And that's mindfulness too.
Could you give us like a little bit of a 30-second, like something to focus on that would bring us into mindfulness?
Yeah. So, I'll use a metaphor that I like to use, that I feel helps us kind of connect with that energy of openness and compassion. And that is, if you want to close your eyes, you can. But even just notice yourself in this moment here right now. Notice your body. Notice your mind space, your heart space. Notice any criticism that might be coming up or tension that might be coming up. And then see if you can just put a label on whatever it is that you come across. So maybe you notice a lot of thoughts happening. You can put a label on it that is just thinking. That's my thinking mind. Or maybe you notice a difficult emotion coming up, like worry or sadness. Put a label on it. Worry or emotion. Maybe there's pain in the body. You could just label that as sensation. And that practice of labeling automatically creates some distance between you and the experience, the stressor, the thing. Then I always like to say, then see if you can have some compassion for it. And that's, like, so notice the pain or the thinking mind, and then see if you can just observe it from a place of compassion within yourself. And if it's hard to access compassion, see if you can just meet it with neutrality. Let the judgment go. Let any resistance go. Any need to change it go. And just see if you can just notice it or breathe with it. Then see what it's like, or then, what do you want to do next, or how that feels, or
Very nice.
what'd you notice?
So like I always have this little something in my stomach, and I labeled that sensation, like you said. And then one of my thoughts I labeled childhood story. Yeah. And then I just kind of went over that and said, hey, I love you. Like, whatever, everything is perfect right now. I'm not 10 anymore. I'm not, yeah. And right now, this is so awesome where we're sitting and what we're doing and helping people. Like, not everybody gets to do this.
You got to step out of your story. That's cool.
Yeah. Oh, that was really awesome.
Cool.
So you do that as a class too, right? So you may have in part of your sessions with clients one-on-one, but then you also have a class that you do this with?
Yeah, I do practices like this one-on-one with people. But then I also like to just offer a weekly space for people to practice, and that's every Thursday at 11 Pacific time. And we just gather on Zoom and we do a little bit of a guided practice together. Yeah, just because I know it's so hard to make mindfulness meditation a habit. So it's like, okay, well, here you go. Here's a space and a time for it.
Yeah, I think meditation becoming a habit is like, can you speak to how do you help clients kind of incorporate that into their life? I know people go, well, I can't do 20 minutes or I can't do 30 minutes.
Yeah, well, I think that's one of the misconceptions about meditation is that you have to sit for an hour a day. And you absolutely don't. It's one of those things where I'd love to hear your thoughts on, sort of developing um, habits around health. 5 minutes a day
Yeah,
is better than a long sit once a week, right? Like I do 2 minutes a day now,
nice.
you know.
I would think like after you kind of get the habit of it, and this is what I tell people, like once you get the habit of things, you'll go right into it faster. In the beginning, when you're learning how to do it, your brain is kind of all over the place, and you should expect that to happen. But you can use a word, you can use a prayer, you can use something that just keeps centering you down into a nothingness. The big gurus like Joe Dispenza and those, they meditate. He meditates 2 to 4 hours a day sometimes because he's trying to reach this spiritual level like that is so way out there. For average people, like I'm working, like I do spend time in meditation, but I, like you, I tell people 5 minutes. You can do anything for 5 minutes. And I think you set it on an anchor so that you do it the same way every day. You get up, you brush your teeth, you drink a glass of water, then you meditate for 5 minutes. And that's the routine that that just, it's just like brushing your teeth. Like as soon as your toothbrush goes in, then you're going to your space. So that's
I
kind of how I hook it up. How about you?
Yeah, I like that, incorporating it into other habits you already have that are strong. Yeah. And you're right. We're homemakers. We're everyday people. We have busy lives. We're not trying to go to the mountains
Yeah,
and
yeah.
for hours. I mean, that would be amazing, but
Yeah,
yeah.
and I think people hear that from these people that, I mean, average person could just get 5 minutes in. You'll want more. You'll go longer. But if you just start with that one thing, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
What about like some of the myths that like you have, like people come in to see you and they're very stressed what are the myths that people have about meditation that kind of keeps them from moving into that space?
Ah, that there's a right and wrong way, or that they're doing it bad, or
Yeah.
that they're bad at it. And there's no good or bad at meditation. I always love to say, even during the practice, like there's no success or failure here. We're just practicing. And sometimes your mind is busy and you're super distracted, and other days, your mind is more calm and you're feeling more relaxed. One is not better than the other because mindfulness is just observing what is without judgment. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I actually almost think that the more distracted you are, the more you have to practice with.
Yeah. If you have a list of 10 things and you can just like begin to wipe that list out and just be still, that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. But even if you can't wipe the list out,
Yeah,
some people can't, that's hard,
it is hard. Oh,
that's okay. That doesn't mean that you're failing or that you're bad at it. It just means that your mind is busy and we just
I,
get to observe that.
I have heard lots of people say I'm bad at it. I'm like, well, how do you know you're bad at it?
That's a good question. Who are you comparing yourself to? Yeah.
Yeah. What other kind of myths have you heard about?
Well, I love the myth that you have to sit in like a pretzel position, or you
Yeah.
have no, you can meditate while you're in action, while you're vacuuming or while you're doing dishes or while you're out on a walk. Obviously you can lay down.
Mhm.
The myth that um, You have to clear your mind. I think I just spoke to that, though. It's not about clearing your mind, it's just about observing. Um, and the misconception that if you meditate, you will feel relaxed.
Mm.
It's like, no, if sometimes that happens, and that's a common nice byproduct of meditation, but we can't get attached to that because sometimes we don't feel relaxed. And again, the practice is about just being, not having judgment about whatever your experience is in the moment. So
Oh,
if you're
yeah.
not feeling relaxed, that's okay too. And it's not a guarantee.
I love that you're taking off like the onions of meditation, because like we have all these ideas and this is what keeps us from moving into it. And one by one, like you don't have to do it perfect. You don't have to do it 30 minutes. Things can come into your mind and you can still sit with it and be still with it. You can use labeling to kind of relabel your thoughts. And then like you get to experience all these wonderful things. Like, you know, the stuff that I study is more of the science part of it. And the brain, for people that actually meditate every day, they live 5 to 10 years longer than people that don't. Because what's happening in the brain, like you were talking about the amygdala and the prefrontal and all the things that are going on in the brain, when you begin to do meditation, it begins to lower all of these intricate connections and electrical flow. And they have this documented on MRIs, and they do MRIs of craziness and meditation, and there is a complete utter difference of the two brains. And it doesn't matter that you're still having thoughts, but you're still not in that crazy beta state. And so like from that hypnotic state, which is as a hypnotherapist, you know, you're bringing your brain down from beta to alpha to theta. And as you're meditating, you're going from this beta craziness and you're sifting down into more of an alpha, which you could be, like you said, you could be doing that when you're walking. You could be doing that while you're watching TV. We go into alpha a lot watching television. It's that hypnotic state where you can actually experience relaxation and chemicals in the brain begin to change. So I think it's really good to hear you say, even like I admire you as a therapist for bringing this in. I've only one time been to a therapist that actually used meditation, and it was the most effective sessions that I've ever had. Like taking me down paths of things through meditation, which is just so different than anything I've ever experienced. So when I met you, when you were talking about all this, I was so excited for you to bring this to people, because even therapists need to hear, like begin to use some of this stuff in your sessions too, so that people can begin this healing process. So how did you get so excited about, you know, moving into this space of incorporating so much beauty into your practice?
Hmm. Well, I was a yogi before I was a therapist.
Ah, nice.
So, yeah, so I was really passionate about meditation already. Um, my parents are meditators, and so I think that was just already a part of me. And I was just, once I found this program, um, the ITP, Institute of Transpersonal Psychology, that blended the two, I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect, and I get to, yeah, study what I love, and it feels fun, and while also studying the other side of it.
Yeah. Well, and I think, you know, for you, seeing patients after patients through the day or clients after clients, you absorb some of that energy. You don't mean to, but this becomes a very important part for you to be doing your own cleaning work, that own place where you're releasing all that energy that comes at you all day long as a therapist.
Absolutely, absolutely. I also identify as an empath,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so yeah, I do take on. I mean, I think anybody doing this kind of deep work, I mean, I think we affect each other all day long, even if we see each other at a grocery stores, right? So yeah, I do. And I, beside me, beside my screen and all that is like all my sprays, my crystals and plants that help me clear energy for sure. But yeah,
Yeah,
at
I
the end
do
of every
too.
day,
I have my
yeah.
essential oils. I have all my stuff too. Yeah, I love that. Do you have one close by that you can pick up?
Yeah, I just well, here's this spray that I like to make myself. It has lavender, sage, sandalwood, and marjoram, and I experience it to be very clearing. But I also like I'll spray this and then I'll also do some breath work at the end of every day
Mhm.
to clear.
Kind of releasing it.
Yeah, and then I mean, let's see. Okay, I'm
I
gonna bring
love.
my big kahuna. Ready?
Uh-huh.
This
Oh, I love that amethyst. That is so beautiful.
this thing keeps my space clear, I believe.
I love that.
Isn't it
That's a
awesome?
nice piece.
Yeah.
Wow. I have one, but it's more like it's like a bowl with the amethyst in the middle. That is absolutely gorgeous.
Really cool. I love amethyst, right?
Oh yeah. Well,
What
so
are other
go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was just curious to hear what are other ways that you like to clear and take care of your being while you work?
Yeah, I do pretty much like it's so funny because these are I probably because we both kind of studied under Gina. We have some of these very similar techniques. I have the spray, I use my essential oils to get very centered, breathing in the essential oils, and then I use prayer. And I try to use prayer with each patient just to kind of get centered. And then I also have those sprays that I use. Like I spray it in the chair after people leave and spray it on me. I smell so good. So it's like, yeah, I
It's so
love
nice.
that you're doing this kind of work. So, how do people find you if they want to work with you?
Yeah, so you can find me on my website at alanamargulistherapy.com or on Instagram. Elana Margulis MFT is my name on there.
Hmm.
Yeah,
How do you spell your last name?
it's Morgulis.
And that is going to be on the feed, right? Your name.
The
I will get
feed,
that to everybody.
yeah, it should be. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I really want to add like back to this whole mindfulness meditation before we end. Is there like something, a take home that you kind of tell everybody once they are getting ready to leave the office to really get them kind of on board and centered into doing this type of meditation?
Mm, like sort of something that can encourage us along the way.
Yeah.
Mm, I mean, it's a practice of caring for yourself and growing. Like it's a tool that we can use to evolve and transform ourselves to be who we want to be. So, because in that space of mindfulness, of non-judgmental awareness of yourself, that's the first step toward making any change that you need to make in your life or within yourself. So I don't know if that's a quick tip, but
It's very beautiful. I could see that you were just kind of trying to get that intuitively, so that what you're bringing is really what people need. And honestly, that was so beautiful. The way that you said it is just taking care of ourselves and practice. Everything we do, we've practiced a million times already. Brushing our teeth, brushing our hair, taking a shower. We've all practiced those a million times. And so, for this one seed of goodness, using your tools is awesome.
Yeah.
And they can join you on Thursday. Is that right?
Yes, Thursdays, 11 a.m. Pacific time. There's a Zoom link. You can just show up and then leave when the meditation is over if you want. It's also always recorded. If you want to receive the recording, you
Huh.
can just send me your email address, but it's on my website. It's called Midday Meditation Break. And you can find that on my website. And I also have a 6-week online
Oh,
course
yeah.
that is totally self-paced. You can do it at your own time. Um, and it's a 6-week course called Everyday Mindfulness for Stress and Anxiety. And it's jam-packed with meditations, practices, tools, education, and information about incorporating meditation into your life for stress and anxiety. So you can also find that on my website. I think it's on sale right now. So you can check that out too.
Oh, that's awesome. I like those self-paced kind of things. And of course, I love classes. So, well, thank you so much for being with us today. And if you're watching this video and you like it, please share it with other people. We are just everyday people really here trying to make a difference in this world and offering people everyday solutions that are pretty scientifically based. And everything that Elana is sharing with us today, she uses in her practice every day. And she sees results with that. And so you can feel better. And so just getting outside of yourself and trying something you've never done before. And I think, Elana, you really spoke today to that space of loving yourself, being in line with yourself, labeling and letting some of the stress and anxiety go. So if anybody out there wants to work with her, we'll have her information. And I want to thank you. Like, you're so intuitive. And as you're talking, you're just being so grateful and thankful and walking through it and allowing it all to come. And I think that was beautiful. The meditation was awesome too.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much for having me, Donna. It's so fun.
Yes. Okay, everybody. We'll see you later. Thanks again, Elana.
Bye.
Bye.